everybody, and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be the start of my February wrap-up, but this is literally January 31st. I'm playing Bookopoly, so I'm about to do my first roll. I have a bottle of wine with me right now. I'm about to also do it live in my book club. I will have the link down below in case you want to join my book club. But I'm about to roll live, pick the book live, all that good fun stuff. So let's go ahead and get rolling. If you haven't seen my video about Bookopoly, I will leave it linked down below and up above. That way you can go check it out. I explain exactly how I'm doing it for this month, how I'm rolling, what books are in my TBR for it, and all that fun stuff. So let me go ahead and pour myself a glass of wine and let's get rolling to find out what we're reading this month. So this is my pile for psychological thriller. I have Daisy in Chains by Sharon Bolton, which Debbie recommended, and I think a lot of us thrillerettes, I think a lot of them read this and they said it was really good. I know Shannon, I think, read it. So Daisy in Chains, I have The Silent Patient, and I have The Surrogate. And just off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure I'm going to read Daisy in Chains. So this is going to be my psychological thriller, my first one, my first read for February. I'm super excited because everyone has said that this is really good. All right, I cannot believe today is literally February 12th, and technically I finished this book yesterday, but this is the very first read I have finished in February, and 12 days have already passed by, and February is a really long month. I don't know how this happened. So why did I finish this book and count it towards my roll? Let me just tell you a second. So I am still reading Daisy in Chains. That was the book that I picked for my psychological thriller for Bookopoly. What happened though is I started reading 2 other psychological thrillers as buddy reads, and I just realized that it's pretty impossible to read 3 psychological thrillers at the same time. And so this one had to go back to the library. So I was buddy reading it with my friend Rudy, and we decided to knock it out since I had to go back to the library in a couple days. So this one we knocked out first, and this was actually a really good read. I'm still gonna finish Daisy in Chains, and I'm also reading The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson, which is actually pretty good, but I'm trying to keep those going. I was getting a little burnt out on thrillers because I read so many thrillers in January, so I'm really glad that I finished one. I can roll again and hopefully pick a different book. So this was actually a 5-star read for me. I really liked it. I was going into it a little differently. I thought it was about a husband and wife, or someone that was going to become a husband and wife very soon, and I thought it was going to be about another girl, a cheating situation, but it actually, the other woman is talking about the mother of the guy, and so it was pretty crazy because I loathed the guy in this book and his mom, the whole entire story. I was just reading and I was like, oh my gosh, these people are literally crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And so there were some really, really awesome twists at the end. It turned out to be even crazier than I expected it to be. So this is definitely highly recommended. I really, really enjoyed this book. It was really easy to read too. It was very easy to get into it. It's very easy to understand. I really like books that are easy reading. With Daisy in Chains that I'm reading right now, it feels like I'm kind of reading I don't know, a documentary of some sorts, and so that one's not as easy to pick up and read. This one was, so that's why it was just super quick to finish. But I haven't read anything by Sandy Jones, but after reading this novel, I'm pretty sure she has a new book coming out this year, and so I'm definitely going to put that on my to-read list, pretty far up on the top because I really enjoyed this one. So since I finished my first roll book of Bookopoly, let's go ahead and roll and see what book I'm reading next. And I landed on the second yeah, second pink or red, that's pink. The second pink, which is romance. So I'm choosing to read Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. I'm hoping that this is going to be really good. I'm such a hit or a miss when it comes to like romance novels. I don't know why. Like, I really love most of Colleen Hoover's, but then I've read some other romance novels like The Hating Game, and I really just didn't like it. So I'm hoping that this one's really good. This is also the book of the month for February, or one of the books of the month for February for my book club, which if you want to join, go ahead. I have the link down below. We do so many amazing things, so I highly suggest that you join. If you do, make sure that you answer all 3 questions to be accepted for membership. Because, you know, we like participation. So I'm going to go ahead and start reading this. All right, so I finished my role number 2 for romance, which is Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. I think I rated this as a 4-star. It was actually a pretty good romance. Like, I would definitely recommend it if you're a romance reader. It was the ending that I kind of didn't like as much, because everything was kind of like wrapped up in like a perfect little pretty bow at the end, and I don't like that because that's not how real life is. That's one of the reasons why I'm a huge like Colleen Hoover fan, because, you know, real life is messy and dirty, and like, yeah, you might, you know, fall in love with the person that you want to fall in love with, but like that doesn't mean that everything's gonna be perfect, or like everything's gonna work out the right way. So that was my only pet peeve with this. That's why I didn't give it 5 stars. I really liked this book because the main character, like Josh, was not an asshole. Like, we actually had a very nice boyfriend in here, and it's just one of my like big pet peeves when I read other romance books, when like the guy is like an asshole and the girl like still is falling in love with him and like keeps going back to him. Like, I hate romance books like that. So I'm actually glad that I read this one. It was the book of the month for February in my book club that we're reading and discussing, so I'm excited for the discussion to see like what other people thought. It was a really easy read. Like, I literally pretty much read it all day today, so it was a good fast read. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll for my next book choice. Nonfiction, so I'm going to be reading Smarter, Faster, Better by Charles Duhigg. He is the guy that wrote The Power of Habit, and I definitely have talked about that book before. It was before I started this book channel though, so you can go check out my main channel for one of my wrap-ups, I believe. I forget exactly where I talked about it, but anyway, The Power of Habit I actually really liked. It actually, I learned a lot of like really cool, interesting facts, especially about like advertising and how people get you like hooked. And I just really found the information like very relevant, and, you know, for me, I felt like it was actually easy to do what he said and change the habits. So I'm very much interested in reading this book and seeing if it's like the same kind of concept. This one, it says The Secrets of Being Productive in Life and Business, so I feel like I can kind of put this towards my own life and towards my YouTube and that kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to reading this, and I actually have this whole like next week off. We have a break at my work, so I'm hoping to get this book knocked out and hopefully be able to roll a bunch more to knock out. So let's go. Right, so I have finished 2 more books since I last updated you guys. One of them was for my Bookopoly, and one was a buddy read that I was doing with some of my friends. So let's start out with the buddy read. The buddy read is The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. This is the very first Peter Swanson book that I have ever read, and I think I ended up rating it like 4 stars on Goodreads. I think it's 4 stars on Goodreads, because like, I don't know, I really did enjoy the beginning. The beginning had like some like super crazy twists that I didn't see coming. This book was like broken into 3 parts, and so part 1, like, you got to the end of part 1 and you were just like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Didn't see that coming, crazy. Then part 2, you know, just kind of kept the story going. There was a few like little twists in there that were okay. And then part 3 with the ending, I was just pretty disappointed because, I don't know, like the ending just, ended. It's one of those books that like just end without you knowing what's going on. Like, I don't know. I felt like this book was written backwards almost. Like the climax was like in the beginning, and then the end of the story was like you were reading the beginning of the book, if you know what I mean. I don't know. It's hard to explain without like giving away spoilers, but this book is about this. It's actually pretty crazy. So this book is about this guy and this girl that meet in the airport. They start talking. He is telling her that his wife has been cheating on him, and the girl he's telling it says, well, maybe you should just murder her. And he's like, okay, that sounds like a good idea. Let's do it. And the story goes on from there. Things get crazy, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I do like the writing. I do think that the story was intriguing. So like I would have people read this book. Like it was definitely a 4-star, and I'm really looking forward to reading more by Peter Swanson. I don't know, I just wish that the ending had more. Like that's one of my huge pet peeves in thrillers is like I want the ending to blow me out of the water. Like that's all I want. I forgot that I also read an ebook the other day on Sunday, I believe, because today is Tuesday. So on Sunday, I read Mudvayne by Taryn Fisher because it was like this 24-hour readathon I was doing in my book club. This was the first Taryn Fisher book that I've read. I've been reading a lot of new authors recently, which is great. And I read it because I heard a lot of great things about Taryn Fisher since I'm a huge Colleen Hoover fan. But that book, again, fell short for me, where the beginning was super crazy. Like I felt like I was watching an episode of Black Mirror. Like that's how crazy it was. And I love stuff like that. So this girl like wakes up and she's literally in this like room where there's no doors. She has no clue how she got there. She finds out that she's actually there locked up with somebody else that she like previously knew, and their story goes on from there. So again, that was like a 3-part story. Part 1 was absolutely amazing, gave it 5 stars. I literally like had anxiety while I was reading. It was great. Then part 2 kind of went into like her backstory of how she knows this guy, maybe how she got there, all that kind of stuff. That was okay. It was a little slow. And then part 3 literally didn't find out anything. Well, like I guess it was like the major twist, but like I hate stories that like the major twist is from this like character that literally just got introduced. Like I hate when like there's that whole thing, because The Perfect Mother did that and I really dislike that. And so that was like the twist part, and the rest of it was just this like lyrical wording that like was supposed to be like symbolic, and I am not a poetry person. I do not like symbolic things. I don't know. I just don't get them. Like it's boring for me. So other people might like really, really like that. So you might love the story. For me, it was great at the beginning. The ending was like a 2-star. So I think I rated it 4 on Goodreads because they don't let you do like half things. But for me, it was like a 3.5, 3.75 because the first part was so good. And the first part was like, it was long. I forget exactly how it worked. I've been reading way too many books. For my Bookopoly role, I had to read a nonfiction book, and I read Smarter, Faster, Better. I had really high hopes for this because I loved The Power of Habit, which was his first book, and I learned so much in The Power of Habit. This one started out pretty good. Like I was intrigued by some of the stories, like for the first 100 pages. I ended up rating this a 2-star though, because I got to the end of the book and I was like, I literally didn't learn anything. Like I didn't learn anything about productivity. I didn't learn anything about working smarter or faster or better. I literally just read a bunch of like stories, like intriguing stories about like people that made mistakes on airplanes, or people that, like how people win when they're playing poker, and like just stuff like that, which yes, it's intriguing. Like I like, seeing how Google employees like are amazing, or, why they stay working at Google. Like I like that, but I just didn't learn anything to be able to apply it to like my own life. So this really came up short for me. I really do want to read more books about like productivity and stuff like that. So if you have any recommendations, like definitely tell me down below. I'm going to be on the search for some, because I feel like my nonfiction list is getting pretty short. and I like to have a couple nonfictions that I read, at least one every month, to like break up the whole like thriller reading that I do. So that's what I read in the last, literally, actually the last like 2 days I finished all of those books. And so I'm gonna roll for Bookopoly, see what I'm gonna read next. I also am still trying to finish The Longevity Diet and Daisy and Chains, because I just have way too many books going on this month. So let's go ahead and roll for our next book. Landed on having to read a book that's been sent to me, and all of these that were in my TBR pile have been sent to me. So I had done like a picture, and I asked some of my book friends like what they thought, but I think I'm gonna pick the one that I actually want to read because I'm getting a little burnt out on thrillers. The ones that I like really wanted to read were like, I think these two. I've heard really good things about Jane Doe, but and it is pretty small, but like since I have been reading so many thrillers, I think I'm going to pick The Water Cure because it's like a dystopian type novel. So let's see, does it say, I don't know, it says a fiercely poetic feminist revenge fantasy about 3 sisters raised on an isolated island to fear men. So I think I'm in the mood for this one. So this is going to be my next read. So I recently finished for my Bookopoly roll for read a book that was sent to me. I picked The Water Cure, which is like a dystopian type of novel. It was a weird book. Like, it was definitely weird. I read a book that was similar to this called Gather the Daughters. I read that last summer, and that one I rated 4 stars because I was very intrigued by the story. I didn't rate it 5 because the ending, like, I just didn't find any of the answers. This book, I haven't like rated it yet on Goodreads, but I think it's going to be between a 2 and a 3. I felt like it was just a waste of time book. Like, a lot of things were just, I don't know, they just didn't make sense. Since I already read a book like this, it just felt like, I don't know. It's so hard to explain. This book, like, it said about like feminist revenge and stuff like that. It was just, it did not feel like it had those types of tones in it. It was literally about this mother and her 3 daughters that lived on an isolated like island or piece of land because their dad put them there, and they were told that the rest of the world was like evil and crazy. And these daughters, like, I'm pretty sure that they were older, like in their 20s or so, because like they had mentioned something about like being 30 in here. It was really weird. But their father like disappears or is gone, and then these like guys show up at the island, and the mother's like, don't touch them, you'll get this disease. And they do this whole like water cure thing to like make sure they don't get diseases. And it's just really weird. Like, it was a weird book. I don't think I'm gonna recommend it. I would actually, if you like weird books like this, I would recommend Gather the Daughters, because that one was just better. In all of these books, it has this weird, what would you call it, like family incest type of thing, both in this one and in Gather the Daughters. So just be careful with that in case like you don't like that kind of stuff. But yeah, this was definitely a weird book. And then I read The Longevity Diet. This wasn't even for like a Bookopoly roll. I just read it because it came in my library and I've been wanting to read it. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna rate this 2 stars because it was a pretty terrible book. It's just a nonfiction like diet thing, but I thought it was gonna go hand in hand with keto, but it didn't really. Like, he wants you to eat greens and beans and stuff. And I guess he like went around and like has been researching all of these people that are living like to a long age and researching their diet and stuff. And so he just like literally just says the same thing over and over again. There's a lot of like tests being done on like mice and monkeys and studies in here, and it was really hard to read. Like, the science is very hard to read in this book. It was not an easy read. Didn't like it. Didn't really like what he was like talking about. sure, like fasting I believe in because of keto, but he doesn't want you to eat any, like, it's a mostly like plant-based diet other than fish. He doesn't want you to eat any saturated fats. So you're literally eating like beans and grains and vegetables, and yeah, that's about it. So, I mean, maybe you want to read it just to get another like side of the story, but for me, like, I'm not going to do that diet or implement it into my life, so it didn't like go for me. So let's go ahead and roll for Bookopoly for the next one. Okay, so I rolled on thriller, and I want to pick out of these three. So we have Her Pretty Face, we have Hunting Annabelle, and we have The River at the Night. My book club members really said they loved Hunting Annabelle, and it is a fairly small book, it looks like. But then from Kayla from Books and Lala, like, I love her channel, and she actually recommended Her Pretty Face in like her like 30 thriller recommendations from last year. And then I saw a video, I don't remember when, but she read A River at the Night, and she said it was amazing. Like, this is the definition of like a thriller book, because she literally, like, it was thrilling the whole entire way. So I feel like I'm gonna pick between these two. I guess I'll read the synopsis again and just see which one I'm gonna pick. So it's so hard picking books sometimes, like, it's so hard. So this is the end of my February wrap up. I did not actually get to finish reading. I'm about 100 pages still in Hunting Annabelle, which is like the last roll that you saw for Bookopoly. So I guess I'm gonna try and finish this in March, which I'm a little bummed out about, because I like reading like brand new things in a brand new month. So I'm kind of bummed that I didn't finish that. And then I still did not finish Daisy in Chains, which I, again, will try and finish both of these books here in the beginning of March, I hope. I should be able to get a lot of reading done in this month, though, because I'm going to a clogging convention next weekend. And so the convention is from like, I think 9 to 4, and then I don't really have anything planned for the rest of the afternoon. And where I'm staying is gonna have like a hot tub, so I'm gonna bring some wine and a bunch of books, and I'm hoping to get a lot of reading done, like even on the drive down, because I'm not actually driving. So I'm excited for that, because I just, like, in the last couple of weeks, like, I feel like February wasn't a very good reading month. I did finish 7 books, but my goal is to finish 9 every month, just to be able to like keep up with my goal of 100 for like the end of the year. And I just feel like I just wasted a lot of time. And so I'm hoping to get more reading done in March. I'm excited. I actually really had fun with the Bookopoly. Like, I definitely want to do that again in a couple months, use my Bookopoly board. I think that'd be a good thing for me to do like in the summertime. And so I am looking really forward. Like, I really loved like rolling and not knowing like what I'm going to read. Also, I had uploaded my TBR for March, which my sister actually picked for me. So make sure that you go check out that video. It's actually pretty fun because I didn't know what she was gonna pick, and she had to like pick based off of the covers of the book, the titles of the book, and the synopsis. So she picked 9 books out of a total of 18, I think there was. So that's a really fun video. I'm gonna wrap this up because I don't really think I have anything else to talk about, since I never finished this last Bookopoly book. So anyway, I will see you all in my March videos. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Give it a big thumbs up if you did, and definitely comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. I feel like I get to know you guys a little bit better, so definitely drop a comment down below. I will see you all in another bookish video. Bye, everyone.